Welcome to Bogside Chats. We're talking everything DeFi Kingdoms, but keeping it casual. We're the first non-whale podcast. No Gen Zeros, no stable of 100 heroes. My name's C9N. Joined with me is mattyesq and Guy Kid. Today is June 1st. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Very good. Excited to do a deep dive into DFK Duels.
How about you, Guy?
In the car, so apologize for the background noise, but I wasn't going to miss this pod, so looking forward to jumping into it.
Such dedication. Love it.
Awesome. Well, you both of you guys sound excited. I can hear it in your voices. I mean, unbelievable amount of excitement coming from you. That being said, before we get started, please like, subscribe, share. Shout to the masses about how great Bogside Chats is. Leave a comment as well. mattyesq, what do we got on the agenda?
So today is just all about duels. We're going to just be exclusively talking about this. I think, again, I make a lot of predictions on the podcast, and they're usually wrong. But this is going to come out, I think, in the next month, maybe less. They said June. So I assume by the end of the month we're gonna see something about this, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Where he sort of said there'll be a preseason, so maybe it'll be like a sort of small kind of release. But the whole episode today is just about duels.
Hi, when do you think they're coming out?
I think June's realistic. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something next week.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. Right, so it's every 2 weeks they release something new. They did pets last week. We've seen a ton of stuff about duels. We've actually seen Risen and Bolan run a couple duels. I think next week is doable.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting. I think there's been two kind of key pieces of information here. Like you said, Risen and Bolan went on a some Twitch streamer. The guy was like super obnoxious, and they showed the actual.
Oh, whoa, hey.
They showed the actual duel. They actually did one like on their test net. They did it live, and it was very cool. And then more recently, today, Frisky himself hosted a sort of AMA. He called it a panel, where he kind of went through some of the more, some more details of how the duel works, and shared a document with the community, going through some of the stuff. With the mechanics of how the duel will work.
Yeah. And just to dive into it a little bit, it was, I don't know about you guys, but just listening to Frisky kind of roll through that doc and watch that, it was a little confusing to me. So a couple parts were a little like, all right, I think I understand it. But for the most part, man, I am hyped. I think it looks awesome. I think it looks pretty... exactly what we need in this bear market. But I don't know do you guys want to jump into kind of how it looks, what we can expect?
Well, yeah, I think we'll just go through really quickly kind of the mechanics, and then because I want to discuss and kind of theory craft on it. But before we start theory crafting, I think we should sort of just like put the structure in place of how they're going to work, so then we can sort of jump off from there.
Yeah, for sure.
And so after the Bolan and Risen stream, I think Frisky felt he needed to jump in because I think there was a lot of questions after that stream. So we're recording this on Wednesday, so he talked about this today in the panel. Basically, you have three options. It's either a 1v1, a 3v3, or a 9v9. This is going to be a mini game. This is obviously not the true PvP combat. They're still working on that. This is sort of just an option you can do with your heroes in between questing, is how he sort of described it. What's going to happen is you're going to get matched up. Each hero is going to get matched up against the opponent's hero. There's going to be then a random roll that chooses one of the 8 stats. And they will use that score. That whatever that stat score is, or whatever that stat amount is for your hero, they'll compare it to your opponent's hero of that same stat. Then there'll be a second roll, which is the backgrounds. And if your hero has that correct background, you'll get a bonus.
50% bonus.
Yeah, 50% bonus. which I'm assuming that's based on whatever the stat is. So if you have like, if it's strength and you have a 10 strength and you hit on the background, that's now +5. I'm assuming, right? You guys agree with me on that?
That's what I heard, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right, cool. And then finally, and again, we'll have to discuss this because we kind of interpret it differently. There's a third role that is the element. And that if your hero has that element, you also get a bonus that wasn't really broken down of like what that bonus will be or how much it will be. So there's 3 roles. You match up with your hero. And then there's also a 4th role that's just like pure like dumb luck that I don't really understand how that is rolled or what it is. But there's a 4th role that like sometimes you just get a bonus. And then the 2 heroes, you tally up the score of all those bonuses, and then whoever has the higher amount wins. And then obviously that's for the 1v1, and then for the 3v3, I'm not positive on this, but I think it's that same process for each individual matchup of your 3 versus your opponent's 3. Same thing with the 9v9. That's kind of the big overarching view. Do you guys think I didn't miss anything, right?
Well, one piece, I think at the beginning you can choose to say, hey, this particular background and this particular element,
right,
and this particular stat I want to prioritize, and I think it ups your RNG chance so that if you've got say a priest or a team of priests, you can prioritize intelligence, so on and so forth. That makes sense.
Right, and the way I understood that is it boosts the RNG for that role. But it's not like it doesn't automatically change anything. It just kind of helps you to maybe get the stat or the element you want, right?
Right. And to be honest with you, in that Twitch stream, Bolon had a mythic warrior that had like 40-something strength, and they hit strength like 4 out of the 9 times. I'm telling you, there's got to be a pretty solid RNG boost on that one. So if you've got a particular stat or a particular background you've been focusing on, I think we may be in luck here.
I think the key, this isn't new information, but this is the first time we're seeing the element and the backgrounds being actually used for something and actually have utility. Now my big question is if each, so it's a 3v3 and each hero has these random rolls every single time, is it really advantageous to have a full team of all one element or background? Because if it's a random roll each time, I feel like that doesn't matter particularly. It would be random no matter what.
I
think it's worth it because you're going to be playing with weighted dice. You might as well have the number or the background that has the highest likelihood of hitting.
Boom.
And if you just want to play the RNG game, your opponent's just going to play the RNG game too. So it's like, I'd be curious for some people that have advanced statistics capabilities to kind of run some numbers. But my high level understanding is it's a higher likelihood of happening, and you match with that higher likelihood, you have a higher chance of winning.
Yep. I guess that's right. I mean, I guess I need more details on that initial, request or however you put it.
I think he said it was 3 times more likely to happen.
But you and your opponent get to put that in. So
right.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm trying to think it out. Like how many different
I pick
random
strength and you pick vitality.
Yeah.
All right. There's an equal likelihood of strength versus vitality. And if I go all on strength and have no vitality, then I'll be at a super disadvantage.
Right.
So you're kind of playing against the other person's roll.
Yeah. And then obviously it would be wild when people get matched up who each are rolling the same thing.
Yes.
Which will be crazy.
So in our last episode of Summer Night in Sarandale, Guy Kidd and I actually touched on background specifically and why we've kind of focused our efforts on matching backgrounds, and I think we hit the nail on the head, Guy. What about you?
I feel pretty good about it. My main debate that I have now is like my core PvP team is a paladin, a ninja, and a summoner. Do I want that team going into these duels? Or do I want 3 ninjas with agility?
Or do you want 3 monks equally spaced out?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
so sorry, go for it, guy.
I think 3 monks, even with the concentrated stat, might not be a bad idea either. 3 monks all boost, like, that you do your level rolls on, say, luck. I don't know. Luck's probably not a good one because monks have bad luck, but
I think obviously one of the big takeaways from this is that monks are going to be probably the strongest basic class for these duels. I mean, just because they are the overall, they are the well-rounded, jack of all trades, master of none kind
highest
of
floors. Yep.
class. And because it's random, that helps them significantly. But I think everyone's going to have that strategy. I don't know. I also think too, to some degree, and I hate saying this stuff. Dragoons and Dread Knights are probably going to dominate.
Well, of course.
I don't see how whales are not just going to. And he went into a lot of details about having a rank system, and basically he described it as like a basic MMR, like in most online MMOs, that have competitive play like this. Basically you win, your number goes up a little bit. You lose, if you lose to somebody way lower than you, it's a bigger hit to your number. And that will help to some level, but I don't see how Dread Knights and Dragoons and Sages to some degree are not just going to dominate.
Of course they will. There's no shot in hell that any type of PvP, any DFK duel, where they're not going to be the best. We know that. They're the transcendent class and the elite class. We knew that. However, what we're missing is Rarity's going to play a huge factor because the extra stat boosts every 5 levels. How far along and what level your heroes are is going to play a huge role because obviously the higher the level, the more stats you have. And to be honest with you, again, I'm just rolling back to the 3 monk thing. If I'm rolling a monk against any other class, let's just say take a priest for example, who has high intelligence, high wisdom. Yeah, they're losing against those 2, but they're beating them 6 out of the 8 times. It just there's a way that we can kind of game it, and again, rolling back into that higher level is preferable. People who start now that are like, oh, I have to start prioritizing monks, like, you're going to have to start buying monks at level 5, 6, 7, 8 plus. If you're starting from level 1, you're behind the 8 ball.
Well, the other thing about the argument about starting at level 1, though, is you've got stones.
True.
I think with this new combat system, even though it's not full combat yet, we'll call it combat, I think the value of stones and the value of crystals are going to go up. Because you should have 3 to 5 heroes that you use in stones and crystals every single time as your core PvP team.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, and I think I think it's interesting too, because I think especially, let's say, I know C9N, you said priest, but I think looking at it versus a sage, I think is very interesting to say. Sages have pretty weak strength and pretty weak endurance, and if you have a monk who's been leveled up with stones, with boosts, I mean, there's a chance your monk who's leveled up could beat a sage in this format, in the way this works. So, I mean, I think those crystals and those stones are going to be. I expect them to shoot through the roof price wise when this comes out.
Yeah, for sure. The one thing that we also have to consider is, and this is more of a question to you guys, and maybe Guy, you can answer this first. How do we think that with DFK duels being released, people are going to start managing their level ups differently, and it might affect true PvP later, and it's kind of thinning the herd?
I think you're going to have your DFK duels heroes and you're going to have your combat heroes.
Is there that much difference, though? I feel like it's the same, right?
Well,
but think of what I was just saying about my core PvP team of 3. I don't think I'm going to use that team for DFK duels. I think I'm going to use a more well-rounded team like Monks. Or I really need a Dragoon. I get one more roll attempt with my Paladin and Dark Knight. If I don't get a Dragoon, I'm going to cry. Because that's going to be like 0 for 7 on rolls.
Oof.
Which is roughly what the odds are. I mean, 14% chance. That's pretty accurate. I should go 1 for 7, but I'm still upset about it. But yeah, I think Dragoons and Dread Knights will be mostly valuable for this. And then I think Monks are going to be closely after that. Where I don't think you're going to want a Paladin. I don't think you're going to want a Sage. You're not going to want concentrated stats for this.
Yeah, it's
unless
interesting.
you want to go the realm of a full team of Paladins, a full team of Sages.
And just boost your endurance roll or boost your wisdom, whatever it is, and hope that you hit.
Bingo, yep.
I think that's interesting. I think that's a better strategy for the background, because I think a team of monks all with one background, and then you're going all in on the background, and you're still sort of in it because your monks are well rounded enough that they can kind of handle it. If it doesn't work out with the background.
Right.
And then the final thing too that we touched on, and I still think we need more details, because Frisky said today that the element, that there is going to be a sort of rock paper scissors chart with the element where somebody will get advantage over another, but there also is a random roll for an element. So I don't know if the rock paper scissors element thing is like always in play at any given time, or does the random roll affect that? Does it like turn it on or off depending if you hit the right element? I think these details are still to come, but it is going to be interesting if there's that classic Pokemon, fire beats grass, water, whatever.
Well, and so I still think how I picture it is, all right, so the element rolled is fire. If I have a fire element hero, I get a boost. And then on top of that boost, if the other person is ice, they get a decrease in their roll by some percentage. I bet it'll be like a double roll thing like that.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so too. I think that would make most sense. It would be kind of annoying to, again, if it's based on a random roll, I don't see why you'd strategize anything. You would just pick a diversified team and go for it.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and just to bring it back to your point before, Maddie, how would this differ from PvP? You have to remember, we still haven't even gotten into the 2 active abilities, the 2 passive abilities, and then, of course, the 2 unknowns. There's still
and then the skill tree on top of that.
The skill tree on top of that, plus equipment, how the pet's gonna factor into both. This is the attempt to continue to bring utility and functionality into the game so that we have true gameplay. We're not just button clicking for quests. And I'm excited, man. It should be fun.
It looks like a lot of fun. I think he touched on the ranking and sort of setting up the MMR. I really hope that works out well, because I could see this. I can see myself just getting spanked every single time that I try and do it, because I've leveled up a lot of my heroes. I've got 2 level 7s, 2 level 6s, so I feel pretty good about. I could probably put together a decent team. But like I said, I mean, a rare Dragoon is just gonna be. It's not gonna be fun,
Right. So one
thing all going to come down to MMR. I agree.
Yeah.
Well, did you prioritize background at all? Like Guy has been preaching?
No, not at all.
That's where you made a mistake. I listened. See, I listened. Secondly, how have you been prioritizing Rarity?
I mean, good. I have my only commons are my Sage and my Ninja. Who the Ninja is more of a fisher, sort of my workhorse. Otherwise, it's uncommons and rares. So, like I said, I think I could put together a halfway decent team, but if I get matched up against, some whale, I'm going to get spanked. So it'll very much depend on that MMR, and if it creates a fun system, I'm very excited for that, because I think it could be a scenario where I'm matched up, in decent matchups and have a lot of fun. But also, if the MMR is not decent, it could very much be not fun.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to work itself out pretty quickly, based on what Frisky said. You're going to go up there, you're going to take an L, your rank's going to go down, and you'll be placed with those lower ranks.
I do think it has good chance, and also something he's talked about in the panel today was seasons. So they're going to do separate seasons for this duel, which, if you're unfamiliar with how Hearthstone or League of Legends do it, basically there's kind of like a reset either on the month or the 3 month. It depends on how long they have each season be. And sometimes I don't think they'll do it in this game, obviously, because they're NFTs, and I don't know how you would, but usually on the seasons, if one meta is more popular than others, they'll nerf or buff certain cards, which obviously can't really happen with the NFTs, but there is something he mentioned, like doing, like for this season, this background has a certain bonus for the whole season. And he was just kind of like spitballing when he said that, and I think that'd be really cool and very fun, especially if there were shorter seasons, like a month or even like 2 weeks, where it was like, all right, for the next 2 weeks, planes are the background, that could be a lot of fun, mixing up stuff like that. And again, just in general,
it would be really interesting from a coinciding marketplace to that, because now all of a sudden heroes that have a plains background are more valuable than all the other heroes.
Yeah, and I think it's exciting. It's exciting for me too, because I think just in general, having seasons, using that format, I think is interesting and will help alleviate some of my fears of just getting destroyed by a team of 3 Dread Knights.
Who's gonna have a team of 3 Dread Knights, man?
I mean, there's whales out there that have that, and it doesn't even matter if you focused in strength with your Dread Knight. He's just going to be better no matter what.
Yeah, but again, that's why I think Rarity's pretty cool, because right now that Dread Knight's going to absolutely dominate just about anything at whatever rarity it's at.
Yeah.
Again, that legendary monk at level 40 or so.
Yeah.
It's going to start making some gains.
Even if you can get it, I mean, if they'd have to add more, the higher level profession quests, but even at level 15, you could start to see some advantage, I think. Getting 3 of those rarity rolls would be a big boost.
Yeah, Guy and I actually ran the numbers. I think it's around level 20 for a rare monk versus a common sage. That's when the average, total stats start taking over. So it's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Rarity's going to be important.
Yeah.
How about prizes?
Yeah, that was the next thing I wanted to talk about. So this is kind of a touchy subject. I think I have opinions on it. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. It costs gold and jewel to participate, to enter a duel, and your reward is going to be a raffle ticket. Now, also, Frisky did mention today potentially the option of, if you win, getting your entry fee back in the jewel, or in the gold at least.
Yeah.
Actually, we need to find out about that, because he said both, and I don't know which one was. He said both jewel at one point, and they said no, just gold. So I don't know which one is actually correct there. But separate from that, you're going to get these raffle tickets. Now, and originally when I heard this, I was pretty disappointed, because I'm like, well, if I'm winning, I would want the rewards and the prizes right away. I don't want to then wait for a raffle later. But then today, Frisky gave more details on the raffle, and it turns out it's not as bad as it sounds. They're going to be doing, basically, you get the raffle tickets, and then you can choose when you want to use them. But there'll be 3 categories. The small raffle will be basically every half hour, they're going to run a raffle. The medium one, I think, was a few hours, and then the long one was a 24-hour one. And these are going to be constantly running. So every half hour, if you like the prize, you can put in your raffle ticket. You also can start stockpiling your raffle tickets And if one of the half-hour ones you like, you can put a ton of them into that one half-hour one. So it'd be very interesting. It'll be a strategy, kind of what you want to do with your raffle tickets. And I think it's. I'm still a little disappointed because obviously I think there is a nice mental, just to get you win the duel, you get a reward. That's a kind of a nice feeling. But I also think these raffle tickets have a lot of cool. These daily quick raffles are not as bad as they sound. I think on a first hearing it.
No, they got to keep you hooked, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you could win a reward. You got to keep playing and get more raffle tickets. It's a way to make the game sticky, or at least DFK Duel sticky.
Yeah, I want to see it in action because I'm very intrigued, especially because he talked about putting stones and crystals. We just talked about how important those are going to be for level ups. If you're somebody looking for specifically strength and, the wisdom stone is there, you'll just sit it out and wait. And then you can maybe potentially pile up more raffle tickets and then have a better shot at the stone crystal when it comes around on one of the daily raffles. So it's interesting. Obviously, too, it'll depend on what other people are doing, what the market's doing. Are people stockpiling the raffle tickets? Are they participating in the daily or like the hourly ones more or less? Again, I think we got to wait till we see it in action before we can kind of say whether we like it or not.
Yeah, the raffle in particular. Yeah, for sure. The rewards are going to be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he said some other crazy stuff, like maybe potentially Gen Zeros, potentially eggs, some bigger prizes. So it will be interesting, I think. And once again, I'm not trying to be negative, but obviously those whales, they're going to have a lot of raffle tickets. But again, the beauty of it is because there's so many of them, there's a chance that the whales are not paying attention when your specific one that you want comes up. So
yeah,
I don't know. I'm intrigued by it.
And it is a raffle ticket. Let's be frank here. The whales have put X amount of money into the game. Like, we know that they're increasing their odds and percentages of winning. Like, that's just fair. That being said, it's not a given, right? I can put one raffle ticket in.
True.
If there's a million and they pick mine, I just need all those whales for that Gen Zero, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are the whales really going to put their raffle tickets in like the gold centralized pot that will basically pay them out 100 gold? Like, there's a way to kind of pace this out where everyone can win at different levels.
No, totally. And I think that's why I was because when they first talked about the raffle tickets on the Twitch stream, I was pretty upset because I was like, I feel like I'm getting screwed out of.
It's another microtransaction.
Yeah, exactly. But after they described it, I think it makes it almost like a game within a game here of choosing what raffle you're going to participate in and when and how many of your tickets that you've won are you.
Do you want to contribute with a raffle every hour, or do you want to do one raffle the entire season?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's a lot of cool. There's a lot of cool stuff there, and I was intrigued by that.
So do we actually have the start of a game here, boys?
I mean, it's really coming together.
I think there's such a more intricate economy being built behind all of this that we're seeing all the pieces slowly come together. But you're seeing, I mean, how many things now don't really have utility?
All of them.
Well, yeah, a lot. But speaking of that, we should mention, and I don't know, there's not much discussion on it, but Frisky did say potentially pets could be a part of the duels. So that combat bonus on your pet could be included, which would just add more utility faster,
And that can tie into the whole seasonality aspect too.
Right, yeah.
Okay, the hero cards themselves aren't changing, but the equipment's going to change, the pets are going to change. The abilities, I mean, actually what they do season to season is what the abilities actually do change. Oh, and they kind of adjust the mechanics of the game based on nerfing certain abilities.
Huh. That's interesting.
So it's like the ability on your hero card
is a Fury Strike, swing
Sure.
3 times.
Yeah.
But Fury Strike might get nerfed one season to do less damage.
Yeah.
That won't apply to this duel, but it could apply to combat long term.
Yeah, future stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting and it is exciting. I think especially the way Frisky talked about it, as this will be an activity you could do with your heroes in between the quests. I think to get more involvement, to get more the players, doing more, rather than kind of click and wait at 8 hours and then click again. So it's exciting. I'm excited about it.
So one other thing I'm transitioning here. Apologies, Matty. One thing or two things that Frisky said. First being the combat systems the core systems are basically built out. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Right. That is an interesting little tidbit he gave.
Right. So I don't know if that means, hey, we should be expecting PvP somewhat soon, in the next couple of months, or is it going to be like next year? But if the core systems are built out, that bodes well. I heard that and immediately I was just like hyped, like super pumped.
Yeah, no, I mean it's exciting. I think I'm not as excited as you are, maybe, because I still think there's a lot still to happen. I mean, skill trees, how the abilities, what the unknown stat is, testing the system. I'm sure there's a lot of art that goes into it. It's exciting though. I mean, because it's the most we've heard, of anybody's talk of it, I think. But I'm still hoping end of year, that we'll see something.
Sure. Yeah, and end of year is probably more likely. And then real quick, shout out to Dags, who had that first question in there. We duel while still questing. Who, by the way, Dags hit that tilt proof. Good for you, bro.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And, we probably understand that PvP and PvE is going to take up stamina. But to be able to just kind of run through duels and be able to do this at the same time, again, it's added functionality. It's not taking away from what we're currently doing. I mean, this is dope. This is exactly what we've been waiting for in the short term. All right, so
no, I'm excited. Very bullish.
So let me ask you this: final thoughts. What teams do you want? Are you excited about any particular pairs or backgrounds, so on and so forth?
I mean, all Monk team seems like it's going to be solid.
Thank you.
I feel like that's the baseline, or unless you go all in on a strength team. I feel like those are your two strategies right now. Unless we see something else, it's either all Monk, just be like a level across the board team, or be an all agility ninja team. Yeah. Those are your two strategies. Is how I see it right now. But we'll see when it comes out.
So if you guys want to catch my rare and legendary monks on the plains, come at me. One more thing before we go. We will be able to challenge.
Right. Yeah, that was a cool little thing.
Yeah, so
private matches will be an option. As it stands right now, no betting on the private matches, but we can do gentlemen's agreements.
Right. Yeah, so Jewelers podcast. You guys, bros over there, Bogside versus Jewelers. Challenge.
Oh.
We're coming after you. Let's see what happens. Let's see who has the better team, huh?
I don't know. They got some heroes over there. All right.
I think Fran's already said that Sconch can't use his mythic, so that's been written. That's right. Commandment number 1.
Yeah, we'll put in little caveats to make sure it's competitive. Right. That's totally cool.
Yeah.
Monks only. Rares top.
Ooh.
Can't be above rares. AKA everything C9 bought in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say I cannot participate then. So yeah, out for me. Guy, any final thoughts there?
I'm excited. I've got a desert team that I'm building, but like I said, so I'm looking at it now. I've got a Paladin, Ninja, Monk, Desert team that are all level 7+. So monk and ninja could be interesting. I think the paladin, I'm like just too well rounded. So, but the interesting thing with my monk, he's legendary monk, 7 summons left. I might have to summon with him.
That doesn't affect duels.
What's that?
That wouldn't affect duels.
If I get another legendary monk, and basically because the backgrounds stay when you summon, like they're
Isn't
just
it the same, like 50-50 with whoever's the other hero?
Exactly. It's just like rolling with a class. So it's the fact that I've got all these summons on my legendary monk left, I might have to use those up now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But the debate is, do I pair it with another rare or legendary monk and just go for more monks?
No, still pair it with a pirate, but just find a pirate that's also planes. Or whatever you said it was. Like, make sure it's the same thing so it guarantees.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Monks are cool and all, but like, ninjas, right?
Well, that's the thing too. Also, I mean, I know we're wrapping up, but like, duels is going to be such a small little like mini game is how he described it. So I don't know if we should go and change your entire strategy on summoning, because that's kind of, your finances and whatnot. Not financial advice, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much it should affect your choices in that sense.
Right, and again, you want to keep that path clear for PvP, full PvP, because I bet those rewards are going to be so much better than what DFK Duels has. So, yeah, this is awesome. I'm super excited. This has been an episode of Boxside Chats. We're talking everything DeFi Kingdoms, but keeping it casual. The first non-whale podcast. No Gen Zeros. No stable of 100 heroes. Have a good night, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.